My name is Nacho Cerda from Spain, Barcelona.
Yeah.
I'm the director of Aftermath.
Right. So what do you think so far represents the films that you've made?
The films.
Out of all of them, what is your?
There is one undergoing philosophy for all of them. I think it's in terms of trying to make good films. That's the only philosophy that moves me. The one thing that I would like to say probably is that we're trying to, at least in this genre, the short films, we're trying to do fantasy and horror films. We want to bring back this genre because it's been forgotten for a long time in Spain. I think it would be very interesting to again make features that would resurrect this what used to be a big popular event in Spain. So that's one of my main goals in filmmaking.
Do you think that's lacking in filmmaking all over the world?
No, not really. Not at this moment. I think it seems to be like a bigger interest now in fantasy and horror films. Probably that's due in part to the release of successful films like Independence Day maybe, and big budgeted productions that are in this genre what used to be a very low budget genre. So things are moving in Hollywood, I guess. It's turning into a big event film, which it might be, in the other hand, bad for the genre because sometimes when you're going up with the budget, then you're restricted to what kind of elements you can put. In other ways, there's another kind of censorship applied when you're doing a big budget production.
So what are the main influences on your films? What particularly, is there any influences? Are you looking for anything, originality, or particular something you want to show? I mean, I've not seen Aftermath yet.
Of course, you're always looking for originality, but there's a lot of stories that I like to tell to the public. Probably are related to my own fears, the fear of death and the fear of loneliness, I guess, to be alone in this world. I don't know, there's just a few things that I like to portray in films, but in general, for me to make a film, I would like to make a film that would entertain me as an audience, would like to see and not be bored at, not to look at the watch when I'm watching a film. But for me that's very annoying, and that's what I'm trying to do with the films at this moment is try to get the people to get some adrenaline flowing. That's what I like to do.
What's the restrictions in Spain in terms of censorship? I mean, this is a fairly low budget film, Aftermath, is it?
It is for the short film. It's quite big. It's about $45,000, but it's not as big if we consider it to be this 35 millimeter.
Right.
Because for the American standards, a film like that would cost me probably $100,000 to make. So in this regard, we're trying to make films, big budget short films with not a lot of money, with a very good look. That's what I'm trying to, because this is not very usual in Spain anyway. And when you do something like this, then you are collaborating to make the industry better, to make it better. So,
what restrictions are put on you as a filmmaker?
Restrictions.
With censorship?
Really nothing. None. Nothing. In fact, Spain is becoming much more liberal in this regard. There's no censorship officially applied, either on TV or cinemas or anything. There's also, of course, this classification system that every country has, but nothing to do with the UK situation, for instance.
And what talking about the UK situation, what's your opinion on that?
Well, that's.
Do you have I mean, you make your films how you want to make them, obviously. Do you understand that that your films aren't going to get shown possibly because of the censorship situation?
At least one of them. I'm not doing all of them, like this one. Aftermath, of course, this one is a very particular film that it was treated in a very shocking way and very over the top and things, but I'm not trying to keep up with this kind of philosophy. Of course, I like to get to the wide audience, of course, and communicate with other people, right? But in regards to your question, if what do I think about the UK situation, I think that's very, and forgive me, but that's very fucked up, because I think that in order to avoid violence on the streets or any kind of violence in real life, you're not gonna like solve the problem by cutting up, by preventing these people to see violent films. And I think that in order to see violent movies, or you have to be mature enough. You have to judge by yourself. No, you don't need anybody else to judge over it for you. That's what I believe. And for me to watch a film like this, always it's not a negative response, it's a much positive response, because it's like it makes you like explode. By watching a film, maybe your energy goes in that direction, and it doesn't go in another direction, which would be negative. You know what I'm saying? When doing a short film, I didn't have any, not because Spain or the Spanish government said to me, no, you can do whatever you want. It's not because of that, because if we had censorship, I would still do it the same way. The only thing is that I thought a short film, it's free, it's a very independent genre by itself, so I think we might go all the way with everything, with the subject matter, with the way it was shot, everything. So that's why I didn't have...
The audiences that when they're listening, they're not going to know. Just give us a little outline of the film, what you were trying to show, what it's about.
Well, the film is about death, and it's about the loneliness of being dead. And it's called Aftermath because for me it's kind of a story of what happens after you die, and the manipulation of the human body, which for me, I wanted to make a little point about this. And the movie's not about necrophilia, even though we're showing a sexual act on screen with the dead, but this is not about that. And people have seen it this way, but they're wrong. Some other people, of course, have seen it or have interpreted the movie as that, as what I'm saying, as a not as necrophilia, as the opposite. What I was trying to say was just the manipulation, of the human nature,
Yeah. Do you see what you're saying as something original, or there's something maybe not been explored in cinema?
No, I don't think so. For me, there's no originality in movies, even though we're trying always to find it, and it's not there anymore. At least not in the subject. It is, of course, the originality would come from the way you show things. And I think it's like when you're telling a story or a joke. It could be the same joke, but every single human being tells a joke in a different way, and that's where the originality comes.
That's a very good point to leave us on, I think. That's a bit